This video is going to cover the topic of combining like terms. Be sure the date and topic are at the top of your page. The essential question will be, how do we combine like terms in expressions and equations? And there are a few things we need to keep in mind when we want to combine like terms. The first thing we want to make sure we know and that we remember going forward is that like terms, this concept of like terms, are parts of an expression that match. So if you think about it in terms of vocabulary in science, it's like they're part of the same species. So dogs match with dogs, monkeys match with monkeys, snakes match with snakes, etc. So that means constants, the numbers without a variable, can match with other constants. Variables of the same letter match with each other. So anything that has the variable x can match with another x, or a y can match with a y. X cannot match with y. And finally, once you're done with combining all of the like terms, the standard format requires that constants are written at the end of the expression. So here are a few examples. We'll start with a basic one, and based on your work in the past, I think you will get the hang of this fairly quickly, but it might be useful for today's video and as we go forward to have a highlighter or a colored pencil handy that you can use to help keep things organized. So I have the expression 2x plus 4 plus x. And I see that I have two terms that use the variable x. I'm just going to kind of highlight those. There's one with an x, and there's another one with an x. So those can be combined. And the operation that I see here is that it is in a 2x's plus another x, right? The operation in front of it is addition. So I need to add that together. And 2x's plus another x is 3x's, right? And there's a constant of 4. There's no other constant, so I'm not going to combine it with anything. That means I just have 3x plus 4. And notice that the constant is at the end of the expression. Our next example here is 5 plus 3f plus 8. And so I look through and I'm looking to see if I have anything that belongs together. And here I have two constants. I have the 5 and I have the 8. Right? Those are both constants and those can go together. And once again, I'm just going to look here and I see the operation in front of the 8, in front of the second constant, is add. So that means I'm going to go ahead and add these. So 5 plus 8 means I have a total of 13. And it looks like I just have one term with a variable f, so I'm going to leave that by itself. But I'm going to write 3f plus 13. And again, the constant goes at the end of the expression. In our next example, I have 8b plus 3 minus 2b plus 7. So I'm going to kind of color coordinate here what I see that's in common. I see that I have two variables using b, and then in another color, I have two constants. So those are the things I need to combine. So we have 8b and we have 2b. And I need to combine them, but notice that the operation in front of the 2b is subtract. So I have to subtract those, which means I'll be left with 6 b's. Okay. And then for my constants, I have a 3 and a 7. And in this case, I'm going to be adding them because that's the operation I see. So that means it's going to be 6b plus 10. So hopefully you can tell that's a little hard to read, right? 6 and then the letter b. Plus 10. I don't think that helped much, but just kind of trying to make that a little clearer. But again, we're just combining the two pieces, the two terms that go together. So the b's go together, the constants go together. In our next one, it looks like we have negative 4x, but I don't see anything else with an x. So I do have two constants, 9 and 15, that I have to worry about combining. So in this one, we actually have 9 and 15 that need to be combined, but it's going to be a subtraction, because that's the operation I see there. And so I have to think back to my work with integers, right? 9 minus 15 is going to be a negative 6. And since there's only one variable with x, we can keep it as is. So we'd end up with negative 4x just as it was before, plus a -6. And I'm just putting these in parentheses to keep them organized. And the last one we're going to do together is a little bit longer, right? So I'm just going to kind of color code things first. I see that I have some F's. I'm going to mark those red, reddish pink. I have some constants, and I have a G here, just the one. So I'm going to keep these organized. The colors help me to see what needs to go together. And then I'm just going to start recording the pieces that I have together. So I know that I have 4 F's plus another 2 F's. That's what the operation here is telling me, plus. So that means I have 6 F's. I know that I have 10 plus 7. So I have 17 as my constant. And I know that I just have 6 G's. Nothing has changed there. So I'm going to put all that together again, leaving the constant last. So I'm going to say that it is 6F plus, that's the operation here, 6G plus 17. And so that's me combining like terms to simplify my expression. Now I'm going to put a few more on the page, and I want you to decide how you will combine like terms and rewrite them and bring those to class. So with the expressions that you see here listed, I want you to rewrite them while you've combined like terms. Right? It might be useful to have a highlighter or a colored pencil to help you combine those. And then bring them to class, and we'll check those off as part of my homework check. And remember that the essential question here was how do we combine like terms. So I just want you to get a little bit of practice with this. And of course, we'll practice it more in class. And if you have any questions, feel free to write those down and bring those into class as well.